Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining ANC 5B for its committee of the whole meeting. Just a basic rules for this meeting. This is a business meeting of ANC 5B. You are more than welcome to attend. We thank you for joining, but this meeting is not for input from the community. This is a discussion amongst commissioners for our planning for our end of the month committee meeting. So we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. We'll start with 35 to ensure everyone has had an opportunity to get online. So we'll be starting at 6:35. Thank you. Okay, it is 6:35. We will do roll call again. This is ANC 5B's Committee of the Whole meeting, our business meeting, to prepare for our meeting for November, our full body community meeting. And this is where business is conducted to determine what will be on our agenda for the month of November and to gather any resolutions or other items for commissioners to review prior to our full body committee meeting, community meeting. So we're going to go ahead and do roll call.
Commissioner, can I
Commissioners,
request that you record the meeting, please?
the meeting has already started recording. It started as soon as I came on board.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're quite welcome. So we will do roll call, and you can, of course, unmute yourselves to answer if you are here or not. All right, so ANC 5B01, Commissioner Gayle Carley. ANC 5B02, Commissioner Ursula Higgins is present. Commissioner Piekara, 5B03.
Present.
ANC Commissioner 5B04, Commissioner Ra Amin.
Present.
And ANC 5B05, Commissioner Costello. Okay, so we have Commissioner Piekara, Commissioner Higgins, Commissioner Amin. We do have quorum, and we'll go ahead and get started. I believe Commissioner Amin, I believe we still saw Commissioner Costello. Is she listed on the, oh, she's listed. I guess she's unable to speak. Okay, Commissioner Costello is on the line. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Commissioner Amin, we're going to start with you with our treasury report and information on our budget, and you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Lovely evening here. So let's just start with the account balance here. We currently ANC 5B has $13,042.64 available in their account as of date. So we've had two checks come through, two regular checks come through our account, the invoices that cleared. That says a difference from a couple of weeks ago that we had in the full body meeting. And FY21 Q4 is in need of the secretary's signature so we can move it forward so we will not be red flagged and placed in violation. So Commissioner Piekara, what time can you meet me tomorrow for a signature for FY21 Q4?
So well, two things. I'm happy to sign it anytime I verified with ANC that we can do it digitally, so via Adobe Signature or HelloSign. So feel free to send over at any time. I know that was Commissioner Higgins' preferred method as well for resolution. So if we could do that, that would be best. And then I just
wait, Commissioner, before you go on with your second point, that's not best for the treasurer. So I'm asking you, what time? I'm the treasurer. Now, what the chair needs to do and what the treasurer needs to do is going to be separate. So what time can you meet me tomorrow for in-person signature? I can be available anytime tomorrow to meet in public space for a signature.
With all due respect,
anytime, Commissioner, anytime tomorrow.
Given the public health emergency, I'm not comfortable meeting.
Okay, then what time can you meet me? Can you meet me on Friday, Commissioner?
Again, with the public health emergency and given that my family is high risk, I'm not.
You cannot. We met outside before, Commissioner. We met outside for FY21 Q3. So is it on record that you are refusing to sign FY21 Q4, which is a responsibility of the secretary?
I'm refusing to meet in person, correct?
Okay, it's on record that the secretary has refused to meet in person, practicing public safety protocol to sign FY21 Q4, which she has done twice since we've been in pandemic mode. We have met at the office and at the farmers market that wearing face masks, practicing social distancing. So be it placed onto the record that Commissioner Piekara has refused her another responsibility as secretary to sign FY21 Q4 as required, and also placed on the record that we have been red flagged, that we're in violation, that our quarterly is late, And if we do not get it in, we run risk of losing a full allotment.
If I may, Commissioner, since you made a number of allegations, I just want to say you're right. I did meet you previously. I felt like I didn't have another chance. You said that you wouldn't accept an online signature and that was what OANC had said. I have since confirmed that online signatures are allowed and acceptable until February, which is when the City Council has extended the healthcare emergency. So given that this is a matter of personal preference, I prefer to sign digitally, as a number of other ANCs are doing, and as our colleagues have done for a number of other things. So also, just sorry, I'm not done. One clarifying question. As you said that we are delayed on the turning these in, my understanding is that you have to submit the minutes along with the quarterly report, and those minutes are not yet complete. So because I no longer have access to the video recordings from last week. So just want to flag that I don't know that you're able to turn those in just yet anyways.
Commissioner Piekara, there is an email that was sent directly to the treasurer stating exactly what I said, that we have been red flagged as ANC 5B, that we are in violation for turning in quarterlies late, and therefore if our quarterly is not turned in at the said date, then we will be in violation, and the penalty will be the ANC 5B will lose a full allotment. So be it.
I'm happy to sign digitally. We can take care of that even while we're on this meeting.
Commissioner, it may be your preference, but it is not mandatory. It is not mandatory, Commissioner, that we sign digitally. I am requesting that you meet me.
Commissioner, it is also not mandatory that we sign in person. So,
okay, you're executive officer, and you're refusing to do your responsibilities as an executive officer of ANC 5B. It's being recorded and it's on the record. I will continue with the treasurer's report.
Can I make a comment, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, please.
If meeting with you is an issue, is there any way that you can leave that quarterly report on the desk at the office for Commissioner Piekara to sign, and then you go back and pick it up if it's a matter of Commissioner Piekara meeting with you one-on-one? Commissioner Piekara, would that be an inconvenience for you to just sign the document at the office and just leave it for Commissioner Amin?
That would not be a problem for me at all.
Well, Madam Chair, with all due respect, I do appreciate your suggestion, but me being the fully responsible for the quarterlies and the treasury responsibilities, that is not acceptable for the treasurer, because all documents I will be held accountable for.
I understand.
Commissioner Piekara, you were just at the farmer's market talking to hundreds of people less than 6 feet apart just the other week. I was there because I'm there every weekend. I saw you there from a distance. So I don't know what this is about all of a sudden. You were just there. You conducted a march in the community. I think it was, from your photos, it looked like it was, a quite amount of people there, more than just me and you. And it was social distancing wasn't exactly the protocol of the evening. You and Commissioner Costello were standing less than 6 feet apart last time I noticed you from the distance. So I don't think that your position, now if you want me to put the quarterly down and step away from it like we did last time, I'm more than willing to do that. We can meet on the porch of the office. I can put the quarterly down on the clipboard. I will step away. I will step off the porch. You can sign. You can take a picture with your phone, since that was an issue last time. And then once you clear the porch, you and whomever you just decide to bring with you, I will pick it up. Is that acceptable for you, Commissioner?
Commissioner, there's been multiple suggestions on how to resolve this. I have asked that I do not meet with you in person. I'm protecting my family's health and well-being, and that's going to stay paramount. So we can do it digitally. We can do it as the chair has suggested. You're happy to leave it in the, or you're welcome to leave it in the office, and I can take care of it the same day. But those are what are on the table. OANC, OAG, all government documents, electronic signatures are frankly appreciated because there's a documentation and a trail, including an IP address. So no one will hold you to account that you did not get an actual signature. But
Commissioner Piekara, what isn't in account is that
I'm not done, Commissioner.
If I turn that document over to you, Commissioner, I have no way to get it back from you. Now, our history has been once you acquire documents, the ANC 5B Commission doesn't see those documents, just like we haven't seen the minutes since April. And so this is why I'm very cautious at this point of giving you documents, because you have a history with ANC 5B of not asking to have documents resent to you several times, not saying that you're busy because of various family responsibilities that you have. Commissioner, it takes 10 seconds, just like you instructed us, other commissioners, it takes 10 seconds to use Google Voice. It takes less than 10 seconds to put your signature on a document that you took an oath to reform the responsibilities to the best of your ability. Now, if you refuse to do that, if you refuse to meet me to sign in person, if we can put all the public safety protocols in place, then it's on the record. And let's move on, and I will continue with the Treasury's report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Amin. You have the floor to continue with your treasurer's report. Commissioner Amin. Okay, here we go again. Evidently, someone has again.
And someone's in the chat, Commissioner.
I understand all of that information was disabled, but of course, that has been opened up again, even though this is our committee of the whole meeting, and we have asked that that not be done, but evidently, let's do that, and let's move on. You can continue with your treasurer's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Higgins. Also, the treasurer is asking commissioners from 5B03 and 5B05 to turn in their government issues phones. Those phones have been taken out of operation, responsibility of the treasurer, and they are government property. So I'm asking that also while you're there at the office, you can use that opportunity to drop off the phones as well, because they need to be placed back into government property at this point, because those lines have been disabled. And you stated in a previous COW meeting that you would turn those in. I have checked the office at least 3 times a week since you made that statement, and they're not there. So I'm asking that you turn in those government issued phones, 5B03 and 5B05.
We have. Commissioner, if I may, and as I told you separately, they are in the office. I'm trying to pull up the photo. They've been in there for quite some time.
Where are they, Commissioner? May I ask? Because if they're there, I don't see them. So if you could just tell me where they are, I can check again tomorrow.
Yeah, so as I told you, because all of the filing cabinet was locked minus 1 drawer, I put them in the only drawer that was unlocked in the filing cabinet.
And which drawer is that, Commissioner?
There's only one tall black filing cabinet, and it is in, I want to say, the 3rd drawer from the top. And if you give me a moment, I can even give you a picture of it.
Okay, Commissioner, I was there today, and now I didn't look in the 4th drawer. I looked in the 1st drawer and the third drawer because I was there doing ANC 5B business. They could be there, and I will check tomorrow because I think just like other commissioners, I can't see that. I dislike other commissioners. There's a desk there. There's a table there. There are inboxes there that commissioners leave information in for other commissioners to receive. So if you put them away in the file cabinet and you didn't tell anyone else that they were in the file cabinet, the treasurer is unaware. But I will look. I will look tomorrow, Commissioner, and send out an email if they're there. Now, they're not in the first drawer, I can let you know, and they're not in the third drawer because I was in those two drawers today working, okay? Thank you.
Commissioner, I can assure you they're not in those drawers because I don't have access to them. Those other drawers are locked. So we would have a bigger issue if they were in those drawers. But as I said to you in person, they have been there. And so, feel free to let me know, but I have the photographs.
Okay, Commissioner, as far as I know, you could have put the photos in there, staged the photo shoot, and went on and took them out and went on about your business. Now, you didn't tell anyone. You didn't tell the treasurer. You didn't tell the treasurer, or you didn't tell the chair that you put those in there. And and I don't. Well, I do know why you didn't do it, but it seems to me that if you were turning in government property, you would inform somebody. Maybe you informed Commissioner Costello, but she didn't tell anybody either.
Commissioner,
I can honestly say that I didn't know, and the chair didn't know because I conferred with the chair about the phones before I proceeded on. So again, your photos mean very little because phones can be placed in a drawer, photos can be taken, then they can be taken out of a drawer. So you insult the intelligence of the commission and the community with that statement. Now, may I continue?
Okay. We need to clarify why the drawer is locked. One of the cabinet drawers has to be locked because that's where the checks and other items are being kept, and that drawer cannot be unlocked. It has to remain locked, and that is an OANC protocol. You can go ahead, Commissioner Amin.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, I'm putting forward now that we have a special budget meeting on next Wednesday. That's November the 10th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And that will be our special budget meeting. And that will also allow the community to, make comments about the budget. So commissioners, that's your availability for a special budget meeting on Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Okay. Then from that special meeting,
I'm sorry. Do we have a meeting location available?
Yes, I'll get to that once he finishes. Yes.
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. And then we will, ANC 5B will take a public vote on the budget on fiscal year 2022 budget on November 17th, 2021 at the full body meeting. And for the records, Commissioner, we are pretty close to being in violation by not having our budget in. So I think that it's imperative that our vote happens in November in order for us to stay in compliance with the requirements of the OANC. And at this point, I will conclude the treasurer's report.
Commissioner, sorry, just per our public meeting last week, you said that we could bring all of our questions to the COW and discuss them here. And so I'd like us to spend some time doing that.
Commissioner Piekara?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we are having, you're speaking in reference to the budget, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when we discussed it, yes, that's what we said we were going to do, but we did not have a plan for a full budget meeting. So what we decided to do, which would accommodate the community as well as the commissioners, is to have a full meeting where everyone will be able to come in person and have a full discussion of all 5 SMDs, and that way we'll be able to have as much discussion as a whole. So that's why we are doing it. Excuse me. And that's why we are having that full budget meeting to deal with nothing but the budget.
So I believe that's Ursula, and
Um,
she's the crazy one. Her name is Prita, and she's doing such a great job, and they're trying to kick her out.
Excuse me.
Would you
Excuse me.
mute
Thank you so
her?
much. Well, the way that someone has adjusted the settings, we cannot. But if people want to be intrusive, I've already explained that this is our community. Our committee of the whole meeting, which consists of just the ANCs having these discussions. But choose to do as they want to do. But again, this is not to get feedback from the community during our committee of the whole meeting. This is not what this is. This is a business meeting for the commissioners, and I ask that you please respect that. We are giving you the platform to be able to have a full discussion of nothing but the budget, your suggestions, what you would like to see, what you don't want to see, and give all your opinions. That's why we're setting aside this time specifically for the community.
I appreciate that. I just want to flag, though, that we made a number of comments, and they're included in the transcript as well. Yourself, as well as our treasurer, said that we can discuss those things at our COW meeting. So while I understand that we're going to have a forum for the public to engage, I would also like to have a discussion amongst ourselves. That was what
Not amongst ourselves, Commissioner Piekara. If it was amongst ourselves, then it would just be amongst ourselves. But that is not the case. And we are unable to have a productive meeting as we did last time because there's interruption from the public as well. We are spending entirely too much time debating, going back and forth, having arguments, and just a very negative meeting, and this is not what this is supposed to be like. If we are going to work cohesively, then at least we can at least have respect for the process of the meeting and respect for one another, and that is not taking place. So again, we will not have that full discussion about the budget meeting until November 10th, 2021. That meeting will be held at John Burroughs Education Center or John Burroughs Elementary School, and it will be on that date at 6 o'clock for the community to fully engage the commissioners.
Sorry, I just want to be clear. So are we saying that we are also not going to be allowing
We are
this?
saying what I just said. We are saying
Commissioner,
what I just said.
I am asking a question. Please respect my time.
And I've made a statement, and you're asking me to regurgitate it in a different way for you. I just made my statement, and it doesn't.
I would like to clarify that we would like to. I mean, this meeting is going to be hybrid, correct? We are not compelling people to have to be physically in person to weigh in on this budget. Just want to be clear that we are going to have this be a hybrid meeting that also has an online component.
We can hear you, Gayle.
Since you said it, that is in person.
You note that Commissioner Carley is in attendance.
Yes, she has been trying to get in, and she was not allowed.
Sorry.
So we have finally, that's what we've been working to do to get her in. And she has been on the line with me listening to the full discussion until we were able to get her on the line, and we were successfully able to get her in. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you. Sorry, you guys, I'm late.
No problem. We just need to annotate that Commissioner Carley is on the line.
Thank you. So to read, just for the record,
excuse me,
you keep interrupting me. I would like you to confirm that this meeting.
Commissioner Piekara, you've interrupted me, and you did not have the floor. The treasurer still has the floor if you will allow him to continue with his report. and you have interrupted him 4 times. So what I'm asking is to please give him the same respect that you would like to be given, if you don't mind.
I would just like you to clarify if the meeting is hybrid.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Chair, the treasurer has concluded the report.
Jesus. Okay, thank you so much. And my apologies for that. I appreciate
And Commissioner Carley is trying to weigh in. If you can't tell, I can hear her over here.
Yes. All right. Now, we are at our 3rd agenda item. So we have been having a lot of feedback in terms of meeting notices, misinformation being shared to the community and the public. Just as recent as our last full body committee community meeting, misinformation was sent out to constituents, wording that was not a part of the agenda was sent out, representative of ANC 5B, which was not approved. We are going to, Commissioner Carley, you can weigh in. And what I'm going to do at this time is to share my screen. Are you able to see the email that I have that I'm sharing?
No, we're looking at the agenda.
Okay, thank you. So I can share this. Okay. So last month, we had sent out an agenda, and this is an agenda that was sent out to individuals through the Brookland listserv in reference to our meeting. So I would like to also show you what the actual agenda was that ANC 5B approved to go out. So I would like to share that with you if you give me 1 second, and I will share that information. Okay, are you able to see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the agenda that ANC 5B had shared with the community. Please take a second to look at that. Has everybody had opportunity to read this agenda? And I would also like to take you down to where the meeting information is. And under community relations, it says community concerns, single member district reports. And then it also has the website in which people could join our meeting. So if you would like to screenshot it or write the information down, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do, a couple of seconds to do that. So the agenda called for the Treasury and Quarterly Report, bylaws update, restructure monthly meetings, and to talk about the FOIA. And we had a second document, which was the sanctions that were not included in the original bylaws, so that was something separate sent out. And then resolution for traffic calming and resolution for property on South Dakota Avenue. And then, you know, that was our agenda as well as the information. So if you take a look at the information that had been shared over email from Commissioner Piekara. This is the agenda. And on the agenda, it says bylaws, FOIA, and then it says under sanctions, commission sanctions against Commissioner Piekara and Commissioner Costello for their community safety walk. That information was incorrect, and actually it was a blatant lie, and that wasn't so. But with this information being shared, there were a lot of negative comments that were drawn based upon the information that was shared. And then it says the full agenda is pasted below. And as you saw, this was not the full agenda. I believe this is the login information for tomorrow night. But if for any reason it doesn't work, please reach out to me, 5B03@anc.dc.gov. And then it had this meeting link, which was not the meeting link that was provided and the actual agenda that should have went out. The meeting password is, meeting number is incorrect. The password is incorrect. The telephone number itself was correct, but the access code was incorrect. And of course, you know, the pleasantries, thanks everyone, and hope to see you all tomorrow night. Well, once this information was posted, we started receiving a lot of negative feedback as to why we were sanctioning commissioners for a safety walk, in which was a lie. Commissioners were not being sanctioned for a community walk. That was not the truth. But according to the public, this was the information that they were given, and this was the information that they went with. Again, I'll show you what the agenda actually looked like. And none of this information was placed on that agenda that was sent out to that community, which really started an uproar. One point being made was there's no reason for ANC 5B to be upset about a community walk, because this was not a community walk that was designated for ANC 5B. This was a community walk that ANC 5B03 and ANC 5B05 hosted. So we had previously voted on some information dealing with the safety walk. One of the resolutions was presented to us the night of the meeting. Commissioners did not have an opportunity to read that fourth resolution, but as Commissioner Piekara shared on the screen, she had the 20 locations that they had planned on asking for the assessments to be done. We voted on it, the resolution passed. Once we received the information, or once I received the information for signature and read it thoroughly, it stated these were locations within ANC 5B. And that wasn't necessarily the truth. A couple of the items were not. One of the items, Woodridge Library, is not in 5B. That's in 5C07, in which ANC 5B does not have jurisdiction over, as well as a recreation center that did not exist and hasn't existed in over, I guess, 15 years. And another location which is combined with another school. So with this information, again, it's misleading the public. And with that, it really caused a lot of tension amongst the community, which is not what we do or how we should conduct business. So at this time,
I'm sorry.
still
Do you
talking.
have
Could
a
you
copy of
allow
the
me-
resolution?
Yeah, excuse me?
I said, would you mind posting a copy of the resolution so
I
that
will.
everyone can review
That's
it?
not a problem. I will. I definitely will. Commissioner Carley, did you want to jump in?
Basically, the agenda as the host, I was responsible for creating an agenda based on all commissioners' input. And as we have stated in the past, and we have made it very clear in the beginning, that the agenda does not get posted unless all commissioners have weighed in on it, as you know, from the information from the CAL meeting. And then once everyone gives their feedback, whether or not something was missed, whether they wanted to add something. And I know for a fact that that agenda was sent out prior to the 7 days that it is supposed to be posted for the public. And so once it was finalized, and as we have said in the past, as it states, that the agenda will get posted after all commissioners have weighed in and know exactly what that agenda will entail. And so that is a true agenda. That is an agenda that all 5 commissioners was able to weigh in on and they saw. And so from that point on, the agenda is supposed to mainly go to the secretary, and the secretary is supposed to post a true agenda. And I think one time in the past, Commissioner Piekara had brought up changing something when there was a dispute between Commissioner Ra Amin and myself about him, requesting to go on the agenda at the last minute. And I said, no, this was not discussed at the CAL meeting. And Commissioner Piekara said, well, don't worry about it, I'll put it in. And I said, no, you cannot alter the agenda just because you're the secretary. The secretary posts information as it is given to her. And so I'm sure she remembered that conversation because it is in the email. So, it bothered me when someone brought it to my attention that this was the agenda that was put out. And when I, viewed that agenda, I said, that is not a true agenda. That was, a commissioner gone rogue who decided that she was going to put out something else so that she can make herself look like a victim again. But that was not the agenda. So yes, it did bother me that and I know I put this in an email a couple of weeks ago, that the secretary position is one of the most important positions that we have on this commission board. And it is, it has to be somebody we trust, somebody who is working as a team player, like I mentioned in my email, and that and it's about the commission as a whole looking good, and not a person trying to make 1 or 2 people look good, or 1 or 2 commissioners look good amongst 5. So that is my input.
Commissioner Carley, I have a question. When you sent out the agenda, did you get any feedback to add, to delete, or any adjustments to that agenda?
Yes, when I sent out the agenda, basically my email read, commissioners, here's the agenda, take a peek at it, give feedback, let me know, your input. I received, something from Piekara that said, thank you. I received something from Commissioner Dean, who said that I had missed something that, as a matter of fact, I asked him, and in my email I said, here's what in the notes that I took at the CAL meeting, here is what I remember what it's supposed to be, and I asked whether or not, was it a PUD that was going to be on Reed Street, or was it going to be on Rhode Island Avenue? So he gave me feedback. I did not hear back from Commissioner Costello until I sent the finalized agenda out, and she said, I gave you a resolution, and I reminded Commissioner Costello that I had sent out the agendas 2 days ago, and I did not get any feedback from her. And I also said, I referred to my notes, and in my notes, you said that you had something for me. I knew you were referring to a resolution, but you never gave me subject or any information. But I also said, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I will include you and add you to that agenda because you did say something at the CAL meeting. And then the last time I sent it out, I said, this is the final agenda. And I had to narrow down the time because we are now, you know, we got a lot going on in this agenda. It's very busy, and we're not going to have a whole lot of time to, you know, for certain guests. So yes, that was my feedback to everybody. And yes, I did get feedback, but never did I get anything back from Commissioner, until she came back later. But by then, the agenda had been posted. So we met the 7-day requirement to get it out to the public. And then whatever happened after that, it did not change the lineup of guests and what order we was going to handle our business.
Just to clarify, I emailed you the same night you sent out the draft agenda, asking to add the item that I had originally emailed you about a week prior. It was the same night. Thank you for adding it, by the way.
Oh, you're quite welcome anytime.
Okay, thank you. Anything else in terms of what was just stated?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, go ahead.
Commissioner Costello, I think you were asking a question first. You have the floor, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't know who else was jumping in. Just to clarify, the meeting link that we ended up using for our last meeting was the one in Commissioner Piekara's email, or was the one on the agenda? Because I thought the one on the agenda was actually the one that we had problems with. Is that right?
No, that's not correct. And that's why all of my people were able to get on, because they had utilized the link that was provided.
Okay, I think we can probably verify that in WebEx, but my recollection was the opposite.
Yeah.
My recollection was the opposite.
Commissioner Chair Higgins, I want to.
Wait a minute, Commissioner Amin, Commissioner Costello, were you finished?
Oh, pardon me, Commissioner Costello.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I got cut off. I just said that my recollection was the opposite, that the one in Commissioner Piekara's email was the correct link.
No, ma'am. And I don't know why it was an issue, because we usually have not had that problem. And I don't know why the email, well, if you believe this is the wrong link, I don't understand why that it was even a subject matter, because if we would have utilized the information that was on the agenda, everyone would have been able to have full access. But again, because that agenda was not sent out according to what was sent out to the commissioners, there lied the confusion.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, so I think the confusion, if I recall correctly, and I know there were some emails exchanged about this internally, I think the confusion came into play because the meeting link that was on our calendar, where we had all received a meeting link to the last meeting, that information was different than what was on Commissioner Carley's agenda, and so I think that was the issue. And I think because Commissioner Piekara was trying to get clarification on which link was the correct one.
Yeah, but as usual, when we send out the final agenda, that has all of the final details of the meeting. That is the meeting, that is the agenda.
So I just want to bring everyone's attention, Commissioner, to Commissioner Carley responded to a constituent and said, Roxana, see below. And so this was not the link that was on the original agenda that you showed up. That was a meeting room link. As you can see here, it's also not the same agenda or not the same link that was included here. I emailed Commissioner to say this is a different link than what was on the agenda. And I wanted some clarification. So any suggestion that I intentionally misled people on which link to use is patently false. Not only that, I tried to work with our colleagues to get clarification on which one we should be using. So, and Commissioner Higgins, you are able to pull a meeting report that will show that this is actually the URL that we ultimately ended up using. This is meeting link that the meeting was reported under. It was not under one of our, these are called the team meeting rooms. So it was not under the meeting room that was the virtual meeting room that was also listed on the agenda.
Thank you. And again,
May I say
wait a
something?
minute, wait a
to
minute.
that?
Yeah, give me 1 second, please. Yes. Again, not only was the meeting link an issue, but the information that Commissioner Piekara had sent out and the actual wording was changed all in terms of the agenda itself. So it wasn't just one thing, it was a couple of things. So I thank you for that information. But again, the information that you supplied the constituents with in terms of the bylaws, in terms of the sanctions, and that information, it was false. And it did give a lot of content. It was a lot of contention amongst constituents as well as the commissioners with the verbiage that you utilized, which was incorrect. So even with the meeting link, that information that you provided was not correct. Commissioner Carley, you have the floor.
Yes, and I overheard the word intentions. I think you know, it may not been intentional that whether it was I or you provided an incorrect link. That's not the worst thing that can happen, but I do know as a secretary that should be one of the things that is verified, you know, before it is posted. But it was intentional that you altered an agenda that no other commissioner, you know, was aware of. Well, I can say I wasn't aware of it. I'm not sure. We can take a vote and find out who else was aware of it, whether or not, yes, no, we can do it here, we can do it at a public meeting. But I also, you know, that, and I was told about there is a YouTube, you know, of stuff that's been placed on YouTube. I think as a secretary and as a colleague, these are things that you should share with us. You never said that you was going to be putting our meetings on YouTube. So when you're doing things like this behind our back, I mean, it's intentional why you're doing it. Now, no one can determine what your intentions are other than you. I mean, we can only hypothesize, but my point is you're doing things that other commissioners, well, I can say the majority of the commission doesn't even know about. That's intentional. I'm not even concerned about, you know, whether or not a link was put out intentional, but the intentional false agenda and putting out stuff on YouTube and things like that, and you're not even, you know, letting your colleagues, no one's saying that, oh, you're putting it out, it's not the worst thing that could happen, but you won't share any of this with your colleagues. None of your colleagues, well, I won't say none, the majority of your colleagues on the commission board, you will not share that information with.
Commissioner, if I may continue. Okay, I will take that as my ability to respond. Commissioner, since I took over this role as secretary, and actually one of the things, and if you give me a moment, I'll have the email for that too, that you were happy about was that I was going to be able to post our videos on our website. The way that we've done that, and you've known about that since we started recording them in February, they were always up on our commission website. But the way to do that was to upload them to YouTube, and we had them embedded on our commission website. That is something that we were required by law to do, and something that we have done ever since. Additionally, the YouTube account that the videos are up on now is the one that I inherited. So it is the ANC 5B community account. That there is a Google Drive, there's the YouTube page, there are all these things on there that frankly have been utilized for a long time. My role as secretary is to legally distribute meeting recordings. That's in my capacity as secretary. I have let you know, I made mention of it many times. We've discussed it many times. So I'm confused as to how there is a suggestion that nobody knew that our community meetings were up on our public community website or our public community YouTube. Wait, one moment, I'm not done. And so I just want to be clear that that is my requirement as secretary, is to distribute those, as well as meeting minutes, as well as the other things that I have done. So those have always been there. I did not realize that you didn't know that we have all of those things publicly shared, as we were required to. Secondly, on the comment about the sanction, so you're correct. I did add in parentheses to the sanction line item on the agenda of sanctioning Commissioner Piekara and Costello for the community walk. But that is also based on your exact quote from, and I'm pulling up this exact part, from our CAL meeting, where you read the sanctions that you were going to bring forward, and you said you were going to be bringing them officially at our next community meeting. So I don't know that it's a stretch to annotate the agenda to suggest what those sanctions were for. It was relevant to the conversation and necessary for the, I'm not done. Lastly, I'd like to say that any suggestion that we all collectively came up and agreed on that agenda is also untrue. I emailed you back, also happy to share these emails, requesting that the budget be included in there and that we have a conversation with that on the public. That was not adopted. So any suggestion that this was a collaborative 5B effort is just patently false.
Did I not respond? Did I respond to that email about you bringing up the budget and basically and you know, just pretty much reminding you who the treasurer is and the treasurer's responsibility, and you know, basically if it wasn't brought up in a CAL meeting, and then that's something he wants to be put on the agenda, and then I'm assuming that he brought up something in the CAL meeting that yes, he will get to the budget. He was more concerned about the quarterly reports and trying to get them out because they had not been signed, because he did not have the minutes, so that he can get those quarterly reports in. So I'm sure he would be focused on the budget had he received the minutes for the quarterly reports to get them off the table so that we could receive the allotments we need. So that's all I'm going to say to that. So basically, you're saying that the agenda that you put out, that you decide that you was going to, I guess, redact or whatever you call yourself doing, you're saying that we knew about that agenda? Or you just thought it was okay because we had a conversation about it? You had the official agenda that we decided on, and then I sent an email and said, this is the final agenda. And that was the advice. So you knew that when you sent out that redacted agenda, you knew that.
Yes, I did. The only thing I changed on there was I added my name and Commissioner Costello's name in parentheses to the sanctions. I didn't remove anything. I didn't. You redacted
the agenda. You redacted the agenda.
I absolutely did not. And if you would like to pull them up again, you can compare them side by side.
So you summarized it. You're summarizing it.
No, that what she, Commissioner Piekara put in her agenda, what she thought was going to take place. Yes, we did have a conversation, and while we were talking about sanctions and we were talking about the bylaws, we did discuss activities that were leading us to put those things in place. Yes, we did state that. So it's a difference in conversations, but again, the bottom line is that the information that was on the agenda was changed, and it personalized the information to two commissioners, stating that they were being directly sanctioned, and that's what it did state. And so when we brought the subject matter up, and even in the email that I had on the screen, one of the constituents stated, they're sanctioning you for a safety walk. And she put a face up there as like a red face, as in frustration. So
Yeah.
you, Commissioner Piekara, continue to have a dialogue, and where others joined in that conversation. So even if that's what you thought, you continue to relay that misinformation to constituents.
I just want to be clear, Chair, are you saying that there was never a mention of bringing these sanctions up at our public meeting?
So
Or are
No,
sanctions
that was never
as I just stated, we did have a conversation in our COW meeing.
But
And
let's be clear.
yeah.
Let's be clear. I'm sorry. The conversation never, not once, not ever did anyone, me or anyone else, say we need to sanction them for having a safety walk.
Nobody said that.
That never happened. That was never said.
Would you clarify what was said? I agree.
You
That's
have to
not exactly
record
what was
it,
said.
Okay, there you go. It was never because of a safety walk. So let's get clear on that.
No, it was for misrepresenting. It was for misrepresenting the safety walk. Was your exact the exact language? We misrepresented the safety walk as being on part of all of 5B and not just of ANC 5B03 and 5B05.
What I said was, in addition to misrepresenting ANC 5B on several occasions, that was an advertisement, and it had nothing to do with the walk. It had the way it was presented when you posted your events. That's what it was about. Your events that you post and how you advertise.
Okay.
I think the suggestion was then that we were going to be sanctioned at the next meeting, right?
Yes.
So that was what was said.
No, it was several times that I mentioned that misrepresentation took place, and it was all about posting and advertising, how you're wording things. It had nothing to do with the event itself at any time. In every situation where it was brought up, for every event, it was about how the event was posted and advertised.
Commissioner, I went ahead and put the YouTube link for that section on there as well, because at least on the transcript and on the video, you did make a suggestion that there was a previous instance of us, quote, misrepresenting it, though when Commissioner Costello asked you for specifics, you were unable to give another specific example. However, you did spend considerable amount of time, as you will see from the link, and I'm pulling up the transcript as well, on the fact that we misrepresented the safety walk as an ANC 5B safety walk, not as ANC 5B03 and 5B05. In response, I also shared my screen showing the various flyers, posts, Facebook notifications, and everything that clearly identified it as 5B03 and 5B05.
And Commissioner Costello said, I advertised my event as a 5B05 event, and I did not post it as an ANC 5B event. So correct. That was where the conversation went.
That was our conversation, but we did not state that you would be sanctioned because of a safety walk. There is clearly a big difference in what was stated and what you were saying.
Commissioner, I encourage you to watch the video.
And I also want to bring up the fact that in another posting, she said, ANC 5B do not support this. And she was talking about giving out some yard signs. So in one incident, no matter how she's posting it, it's always in a negative, manner against the commission board. So, she said, okay, you know what? I'm giving out some yard signs, and ANC 5B do not support this, as if we had a conversation or as if we voted and we said, no, we do not support that. That was the feedback from that posting is ANC 5, it was a disclaimer. ANC 5B do not support this. What
that wasn't the truth. And that was not the truth.
If I may, Commissioner, and again, I'm pulling this up, it is saying that this distribution is on behalf of 5B03 and 5B05, not on behalf of 5B. So again, taking your feedback from the previous meeting, as well as comments from Commissioner Amin that apparently said, we better not be doing this as 5B. This is my disclaimer, adding a disclaimer. The sign distribution effort is supported by 5B03.
You don't have to add a disclaimer. If ANC 5B did not discuss this or we did not vote on this, then you don't have to add a disclaimer, because now, and even when people gave feedback and said, well, why are they not supporting this? Oh, well, Commissioner, why are you not supporting? You never once chimed in and said, no, you misread that. You misunderstood that. That's not what I, intended, but you let it go on. You let it go on.
On one hand, you are saying that by us posting our community walk as 5B03 and 5B05, it was not clear enough that it wasn't on behalf of 5B. And then when I put a disclaimer up, again, based on comments made by our colleagues, that this was not presented to, voted on, or endorsed by other commissioners. I didn't say that you all didn't want to. I said that this was not presented to, voted on, or endorsed by other commissioners in 5B. That's a fact. It was not.
We did not support.
You said,
Commissioner, you can see on the screen. It's right up here. You can read this for yourself.
But Commissioner Piekara, when feedback came in and they were saying, well, why don't they support this? Why wouldn't they support this? Why wouldn't Commissioner Carley support this? Commissioner Higgins, why are you not supporting this? You never once said, no. I never said they do not support this as if, they don't want to have anything to do with it. You never, ever corrected anyone who misunderstood what you wrote. You never corrected them.
I'm not going to put words in your mouth on what you support and what you don't support. I am not making any claims on what the full body considers, what you consider. I don't want to get into any issues for speaking on behalf of you. So this whole thing, again, based on the previous one where we did a post about the walk, the problem was that it wasn't clear enough that it was 5B03 and 5B05. And so then when I make a point.
No. What I'm saying is, I think it's implied that if you just put ANC 5B03 is hosting this event, it's implied that no one else is involved in it. I'm sure you don't have to put any disclaimers in there. I think you know what you're doing.
Well, that's what we did for our DDOT community walk, and you guys got upset about that. So I think you guys need to figure out what exactly you expect.
Nobody got upset about anything.
There's 25 minutes on this recording that's linked. I encourage you to look at it too. But there were certainly people that were upset about the potential that we misrepresented that safety walk.
Well, commissioners,
we
know what we need to do.
And we are done with that. So again, we have comments that about what we're talking about, discussing. Again, this is our business meeting, and this is what we do at our business meeting, to discuss and try to iron out some of the things that are going on. That's why it's our committee of the whole meeting. So if we are wasting your time, I'm sorry, but this is our committee business meeting.
Yeah, that says a lot about you if you're sitting around looking at something that's wasting your time.
So again, all right, so let us move forward. So the next on our agenda is, and Commissioner Costello, I have not forgot about your request, is our FOIA. We had another FOIA request from a constituent and Commissioner Piekara's ANC. She is requesting all of our emails, all of our texts, all of our voicemails, all of our contacts, all of our contacts, etc. So that is underway as well. And so we are, so the Office of ANC.
Commissioner Higgins.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I would like to ask, because I think in the last email, and I don't remember receiving anything as the point of contact for the commission board. In the last email, I think Kathy asked that all FOIAs, since she has now been identified as the person who's going to handle the FOIAs, and I think we should vote on that to make that very clear, upcoming public meeting to send all FOIA requests from that point on to her directly. And I don't remember receiving anything from her to inform us that another FOIA request has come in.
Yes, that is actually correct. As I stated, the constituent, well, actually, Commissioner Piekara sent the information in first, and then the constituent, Commissioner Piekara sent the information letting us know that this is what was taking place when we were speaking in reference to a point of contact for ANC 5B, and then the constituent forwarded her full FOIA request. Again, all FOIA requests must go through the Office of ANC, and then they will be our guide into the process. So we have not gotten any feedback yet from the Office of ANC in reference to the second FOIA request, but one has been asked of us, or asked of the Office of ANC.
So are we supposed to be, we're not even supposed to receive these requests? Should they not go directly to Kathy as she asked in her email?
Yes, yes.
I think
The FOIA request should go to the Office of ANC. And once they acknowledge that FOIA request, then they will give us our marching orders as they did with the first request. So again, for the first one that we received, we were also told that we were not to respond to the document submission, because I believe the constituent wanted us to provide information to a Google Docs or something like that. But we were told not to provide that information. All of that will go through the Office of ANC.
just to clarify, so I think we had two separate requests come in. So we voted to appoint Ms. Williams from OANC to be the ANC point of contact for the first one. It sounds like Commissioner Carley, I think what you said was we should vote on a point of contact for the second request that also came in. Is that right?
Yes, but again, we have not received anything from the Office of ANC stating anything about the second request.
Okay.
So therefore, if we have not received anything from them, then we don't know, again, what our marching orders are until we get that information from them.
Do we also know when the 15-day response deadline is for the first FOIA request?
Well, we just stated in our meeting that we appointed Ms. Williams. So I don't know when day one started, but please feel free to reach out to their office where they can give you the specific details as to what that timetable looks like.
I will. Thank you very much.
Anyone else on that, on the FOIA request? Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, the bylaws and sanctions. before I pass the baton. We did bring this up in our ANC full body committee meeting on in October. We will be bringing it back up again, so we can move forward with incorporating those. Commissioners, please chime in.
I'm sorry, I'm on here. Well, it's my understanding again, when at our town meeting, I'm hoping that we have it on the agenda so that we can vote on what we that was brought up at the public meeting. And as bylaws state, we are to bring up or present any additions at one public meeting. And then at the next public meeting, we can vote them to incorporate them into our bylaws.
Right. And so also I wanted to just loop back around to the meeting last month when that agenda was sent out stating that we were going to sanction. Currently, as it stands, ANC 5B does not have sanctions, a sanction policy in place to sanction anyone. That was not in our bylaws. And when we created or edited or updated, however you want to phrase it, the current bylaws, we incorporated that second piece, which was the sanctions, and it was sent separately. So we had two documents for the commissioners to go through. So as stated, we will be voting to incorporate the new bylaws and adding the sanctions to that working document.
Just to clarify too, because I know we talked about a special meeting for the budget, the vote on the bylaws amendments would be at which meeting? Our late November meeting, our regular meeting, or at the special meeting? Or
no, the meeting that we are having on the 10th will be to garner any feedback from the whole ANC 5B community. And after we have received feedback, then we will be voting on it on the 17th, in our ANC 5B community meeting. Please note that our meeting will not be held on the fourth Wednesday because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So we have it the week prior.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry, maybe I confused things by mentioning the budget, but just to be clear, the 10th is to discuss just the budget or
Yes,
plus the budget?
This is to discuss the budget and get feedback from the community so everyone's able to weigh in.
Okay.
And actually have the documentation and to be able to go through it. The bylaws will be voted on at our full body meeting before the community. We cannot vote on it, of course, at our COW meeting, and the special meeting that we are putting together for the budget is specifically for the budget. And then we will proceed with our regular meeting.
Thank you.
Answer your question?
Yeah, so the regular meeting is moved to the 17th, up from the 24th. Is that right?
Yes, because it's a holiday the following week.
Perfect. Thank you.
One note, Commissioner, I'm getting a number of messages from constituents who are saying that they are not able to enter the meeting because it looks like the meeting is locked. So if you could please let folks in, that would be much appreciated.
You have the same ability to do that. So I'm sorry, you said you do not?
I'm not a host. I am both Commissioner Costello, myself. We are not hosts. You, as we discussed earlier, had removed us from our WebEx. So we are in as participants, just like everyone else.
Okay, so we do have a co-host. So who is the co-host listed on the meeting?
I would imagine it's one of our colleagues that still has access to the account and the password.
No, ma'am, because Commissioner Carley could not get in and we worked with her to get in. Commissioner Amin is not a co-host, so initially when you were speaking, you were actually coming up as the co-host, and then now you're coming up as your name, so that's not you?
Nope. And as we discovered from previous times, you actually can't change your name. So if I was the co-host, it wouldn't let me change that. So
Okay, no
yep.
problem, thank you. So,
We can let the people in. I think that focusing on that piece, if we can let participants in, that would be much appreciated.
thank you. Okay, anyone else on that subject? And actually, the meeting is not locked. It's not locked. And so I don't know what the problem may be, but the meeting is not locked.
Yeah, is there a waiting room or something?
And they're not in the waiting room. Everyone that was in the waiting room, they have been admitted. So I'm not sure what you're seeing or why you're seeing it, but I'm sure you will definitely do your due diligence. But again, everybody is allowed to unmute themselves. Anyone can share. So I'm sorry, nope. Nobody, and nobody's in the waiting room. There's nobody in the waiting room. So I'm sorry, I can't really tell you what the situation is right now. All right, so we're going to move on to item number 6, which is the website. There has been a lot of back and forth in terms of the ANC 5B website. And Commissioner Piekara, I would like for you to tell us what the situation is with the website.
So he's gonna deal with me not coming up tonight. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So and then we're going to move on. Then I'll follow up once you talk about why the website and the lack thereof and what we have done and not done in terms of our website. So would you please share that information with me, please, with the group, please?
Sure. Just to be clear, which part are you want just kind of the history of our website
The information that you've been sharing with your constituents as to why we don't have a website, and because I know your constituents have been reaching out stating that we don't have a website, we're unable to share the information. So I would like for you to share with the community and us commissioners why we don't have a website and why, why we're where we are right now. Please, thank you.
So again, not sure, but here, let me share my screen here.
Sure.
As Commissioner Costello or as Commissioner Higgins counted, there was a request on our about our website and where the information could be. We haven't had a website since I believe early June. And despite numerous requests to reinstate our website, I was told that it is not a priority and was something that we would quote consider. I think at one mention, Commissioner Higgins said that it was my responsibility because the commission hadn't been presented with further action, to which I actually shared screenshots, which I will also pull up, sharing that I, back in May, before our website went down, actually not only priced out and found an alternative for our website, but also included a mock-up of the design I created, and I'm happy to even share that. So from there, I don't, nothing else is happening. I'm not the treasurer, so I don't have the ability to do that. It was not brought up. I think Commissioner Higgins at some point says that Commissioner Carley and Commissioner Amin were taking the lead on it. So I can find that one too. And so I've been out of the loop despite numerous requests, but so I don't know what taking the lead on it means or where our colleagues have advanced to, but that's what I got.
Okay, also, could you go back to your email that you had stated that you had asked about, and I think it was someone, I can't remember who the person was on the email. So it's two emails I would like for you to reference. One from the Office of ANC with Mr. Bynum, Leonard Bynum. Do you have that email that you can pull up?
I just want to exercise caution when we do screen share that we don't reveal residents' personal email addresses.
This is
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not sure.
that's great. Thank you.
Okay,
This is from the Office of ANC, Leonard Bynum.
got it.
And
Thank you very much.
it's from June.
I don't know if you seem to have it up. Feel free to share. I guess what's the topic with Mr. Barnum
The website.
about the fact that we don't have one?
Yeah, you were exchanging information with him about our June meeting.
Yeah, I think I shared that. Let me see. That we didn't have one, but shared the information that we do post or where we did have it.
Yes, could you share that screenshot, please?
Sure. Give me a moment to find it. If you have it up and handy,
I
feel free.
don't, but since you were sharing and you were able to jump the emails quickly, I thought you may be able to pull that up for us.
Sure. Give me 1 moment.
Sure. So also, Commissioner Piekara just made a reference to the email and the information I had stated. Let's start with the first part of it. With the email, the website information, we had the website cut off because Commissioner McKenbey was utilizing his credit card to get that done. And previously, Commissioner McKenbey never provided invoices to the ANC so we could reimburse him. And then in the conversation, and I believe Commissioner Amin had this conversation with, and if I misstate anything, Commissioner, please jump in, where he stated that he didn't want to be reimbursed. It was okay, don't worry about it, because we had still further asked him for the invoices so we could still pay him. He didn't want to do that. And as I stated in the email to the commissioners, well, we need to go ahead and cut that off because he was no longer commissioner and we no longer needed to utilize his credit card to him be a part of that process. So we moved forward from there. And so I know in June,
Commissioner, I've had this up per your request, so not exactly sure which piece.
no, that's fine.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. But anyway, so with that being stated, we didn't have a website. So at that time, we were starting committees and Commissioner Piekara was over the communications committee because she was our secretary. And so we were trying to get a working committee together to assist with some of the social media pieces and so on and so forth. Commissioner Piekara did have the website logo, I believe, and some other things prepared. And Commissioner Piekara sent out an email to all of the commissioners asking, she said she was ready to go. And if there were any objections to us disconnecting his email and moving forward, let her know right away. There were no objections, and Commissioner Piekara, I don't believe, received any emails from any of the commissioners Except I believe she stated Commissioner Costello did respond.
Correct.
But if you ask if there are no objections, if there are none, then there was nothing to respond to. At that time, I believe that we did have somewhat of a speaking relationship where we were actually talking on the telephone and emailing and texting at that time. And I had also stated to Commissioner Piekara that the logo was fantastic and what she had did was great. And so in finalizing that, I don't believe, I'm not speaking for the other commissioners, but I have never objected to Commissioner Piekara going live with that site, because again, the logo was great. The information that she had shared with us was great. So I don't know where the disconnect came with us not having the information placed for our website. So it wasn't that we had said, no, we weren't going to do that, but that information still should have went live and it did not. So I can't speak to the disconnect, but again, nobody stated that, hey, we don't want this. And thank you for putting up the invoices. And who was this sent to, Commissioner Piekara?
Sent to you and me and Ra.
Okay,
Right,
and that was
Commissioner Amin.
and that was back in April.
Yes, so this was all of the receipts. I'm not sure where the piece about Commissioner or Henry McKembe not sending in his receipts, because as we can see, he did.
This is from April. We had,
yeah,
this is from April. I'm glad you put this up. So we had been asking Commissioner McKembe for his invoices for approximately how many months, Commissioner Amin?
I don't know how many months. I don't have that information right offhand, but the conversation was that even though those receipts had been forwarded, it wasn't complete information for the treasurer or for ANC 5B to move forward with any type of payment. So I was asking for him, the conversation was asking for him to provide us with all the receipts because they weren't thorough, nor were they clear. And then that's when we had the conversation when he said he was not interested in being reimbursed by ANC 5B. And I asked him, is he sure? Because I also told him, I said, with the state of ANC 5B's books, that it would take me some time to go through everything and then figure out, make sure that when we could reimburse him, because as you know, we were in jeopardy of losing a full annual allotment because the reports had not been turned in. And he indicated in that conversation, because he was the previous treasurer, he was treasurer before I was sworn in position. He said, don't worry about it. I don't need to be reimbursed. And I said, are you sure, Commissioner? And he said, absolutely, yes. And then that's where we ended our conversation.
Thank you. I can't speak to any conversation. I just wanted to, as we were flagging that Commissioner or that Henry McKembe hadn't sent in his receipts, I just wanted to share that they had been set in, and not sure what OANC needs. Maybe their requirements changed because these were the previous receipts that had been submitted for the last couple of years.
They weren't comprehensive, Commissioner Piekara. They weren't comprehensive enough for us to go through them and make proper decisions whether we could whether he could be reimbursed. And that was the conversation that we had.
And this didn't come in until, and that's why I'm glad you showed the date, until April.
Yeah, so it looks like when Commissioner Amin requested them on the 24th, Commissioner McKembe responded just a couple days later on the 26th.
They had been requested prior to him leaving the ANC.
Yeah,
Which
obviously,
was
I don't have any knowledge of that. But
exactly, that is exactly correct. You don't have any knowledge of that.
no,
And so this has been, and that's why we're having this conversation. So this has been going, but I'm not finished. So this has been an ongoing conversation. So again, I'm glad you shared that because this is from April of this year. And these should have been in every month so we can send these invoices in for payment, and they were not. So
Exactly.
there lies the problem. So with this, in our current situation, with the ANC website, again, nobody gave, and if you have that in the email as well, I would like to see where we objected to you going live with that website.
yeah, so thank you.
I looked at that, I looked for that email, and I don't see anywhere where I stated or anyone sent anything to me stating that they objected to you going live with the website.
Just can I ask a clarifying question? If the expenses continued to be incurred this year up until April or May, those would be current expenses, and they were submitted timely in April, right? So
They were
shouldn't
not
they be reimbursed?
timely.
No,
If you notice, there was several.
I'm sorry, let me clarify. If you submitted, well, I guess there are two things. If you submitted an invoice for expenses incurred for March, for instance, and you submitted that in April, once he got his bill, that would still be timely. But I guess the second question is, are there any restrictions or limits on when we can reimburse someone for incurring debt on behalf of our government body?
I would rather ask.
Yes.
Go
ahead. I'll let you start.
No, go ahead, Commissioner Carley.
It should be, if you paid out of pocket for something and it is for the ANC commissioner or as a single member district commissioner, it should be submitted as soon as you receive it. But more importantly, it should be within 30 days because we pay bills monthly.
Yes, it is a restriction. And Commissioner Costello, thank you for the question. And I don't have that exact days in front of me at this time, but there is a restriction on those, especially when commissioners pay out of pocket.
And you have to fill out a voucher request, an invoice request for it.
And we need to vote on it as well. So it's not just him sending us receipts and somebody cutting him a check. Each and every one of those receipts had to be voted on. And part of the problem was that it was so many of the receipts, and I'm not sure whether it was an April receipt in there, Commissioner, or a March receipt in there, but many of those receipts, as you can see, it was many. They were so old that it was going to create an accounting problem for us because we were already in jeopardy. So it was a matter of dealing with the most important things first. And the most important things at that point was to straighten out our books and to, save our allotments. And that's what we spent the fiscal year, the calendar and fiscal year doing in 2021. So trying to go back to 2 and 3 year old receipts, this wasn't at the top of ANC 5B's priority list at that time, especially for a level of negligence that probably should not have ever happened, because there was no reason why ANC 5B would not have paid those receipts previously, because if they were submitted, even under his treasury, the funds were there, the ability for 2 other people other than him to sign was there. And so it was no reason for us to, and it was several attempts, Commissioner Piekara, and you may or may not know that, but you know, there were several emails with me saying, hey, Henry, could you please, like, what, first of all, they went kind of like, hey, what is WP? You know, like, what is this WP thing that keeps showing up on the books that I have no receipts for? So that kind of went on for a while. And then it was the, hey, these are the receipts. These are these WordPress receipts. I think is it WordPress that we were getting. And I was like, whoa, all of this. And we had no idea. We had no idea that was even out there at that point when I went to OANC with that.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to address what the chair said about there was no one that said no to my website proposal, and as a result, I should have gotten a website up. I just want to reaffirm, and Commissioner Amin, you mentioned this too, so thank you. We're not legally allowed to spend any money without it being explicitly authorized at a public meeting or in the budget. So we did have the conversation in reference to the budget, and it was not included in our 2021 budget, but I would have no ability. I'm not the treasurer, I'm not the chair. I would not have any ability to expend any funds to put up a website, which is what, and I can pull the transcripts from our other CAL meetings, which is why I asked the treasurer and the chair to do the same things, or to put that forth. So I can make the suggestion as someone that likes web design to put it up, but I don't have the ability to make any of those purchases.
And Commissioner Piekara, true. Now, but you never presented that to the full body commission again. After the initial emails, it was never discussed that how that you were going to do that and all of that. So it just kind of, the whole conversation just went mute about the website. And from there, as the community knows, everyone was posting agendas on their own. And I wasn't even aware that, honestly, I wasn't even aware that we did not have a functioning website, because that was your responsibility. And I was busy with Treasury stuff until my constituent, former commissioner, contacted me about trying to get information. And then all of a sudden, then I went onto the website, and I was like, whoa, I had no idea that you had not informed the commission of what had happened to our website. So that really was your responsibility, Commissioner. You never said anything else to us again about moving forward and somehow securing a payment, because you knew that it had to be a conversation that we had to have, because it was a sidebar conversation that it would have to go on somebody's credit card initially.
Commissioner Piekara,
Yes, ma'am.
I just put up the thing from Gottlieb Simon that you just took down, and it specifically talks about, and if you look in the subject, it says going, ... And so again, this predated you. And if you look at item number 6, where it says when we did send in the information, and it talks about how the transactions did not appear on the transaction listings, and please identify the check numbers that accompany these invoices. And so we have been trying to work with Commissioner McKenbey to get all of these invoices in. And this is the last document where he sent in. After this, we no longer received invoices from him for the website. So we had nothing to share. And they continuously asked for this information, to the point where we were asking, okay, how can we help you? Allow us to help you. And he said he had it. And when they would send emails, so I just really want to be clear, because, I don't, we'll review these and get the supporting materials. He never got the supporting materials to them. And then here's the next one, gone. There's almost no time left to avoid the loss of your allotment. We still have not received the documents identified. So this, just like I said, predated you. And it's going on and on and on and on. So as I stated before, sometimes it's just a basic conversation. So you'll know what the backdrop is. But again, he was not in compliance and he did not forward those. And when we got them, as you saw in April, he sent all of that information in, but did not want to move forward and stated that, of course, not in email, but he said, that's okay. I don't, don't worry about it. So, that's where we are with that.
And
But,
Chair Higgins.
wait a minute. So, but before we get started, Commissioner Amin, I want you to discuss what was stated to you in reference to the website just recent, I guess in the past, month?
Yes.
Surveillance. Okay.
Yes.
Share that with us, please.
So, commissioners are correct when they say that when I realized the secretary was blatantly not meeting her responsibilities, because my constituents were asking for a website, and I needed that also to perform the duties as a treasurer. I decided that I would take on another responsibility and secure a web host for us, so we could move forward with getting a design and all of the stuff that community and the commission wanted. When the money was there, as you know, because the money appeared in fiscal 21 budget, you may remember that I moved another $250 into the communications budget when I did fiscal 21 budget, which again wasn't my responsibility. It fell on me because I became treasurer and it hadn't been done previously. So when I looked at it, I said, okay, well, let me put the money, $250 in, because Commissioner Piekara had reported to Full Body that she found Squarespace and it would approximately cost us $18 to $19 a month to secure them. And if we did a yearly contract. So I agreed. I said, we all agreed at that point. I said, wow, that's really a good deal. That sounds way better than the $35 a month that we were paying, that we were supposedly paying with Commissioner McKimbey. So, but again, that point is moot. So then what happened is that when I moved forward with the OANC to say that, hey, I want to secure a web host for ANC 5B, I took it to OANC and said I will be taking $250 out and moving to take $250 out to do that. I was instructed by the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissioners that, Commissioner, hold off on that, because right now we're in a process of seeing whether or not OANC will pay for all commissions of websites and web hosting abilities. That's one of the things that we're working on. So I would not sign a contract and commit that money out of your budget, because the Office of Neighborhood Advisory Commission will make a decision about that. And also, all commissioners know there's a new Actos committee that's been working with OANC, and that's been one of the proposals that was put forward, that commissions should not be taking money out of their budgets to pay for this, because this should be a responsibility of the larger government, the Office of OANC. And I think someone had told me once that once it was secured by the Office of OANC, I think I had a sidebar conversation.
It was.
Right. Okay.
ANC, they hosted our websites. Yes.
Right. And so that explains why. So when Commissioner Carley and I found that out, And so we said at that point, well, hey, we can wait because here's the thing. So this is what was, and it never came up in another meeting because we never got there, but we said, hey, we were going to just, all we needed was a blog to say that, hey, a blog that would post our agenda, our minutes, and our schedule. And that blog could be maintained by any community member, especially those community members that were like, very, very concerned that we did not have a website. Any community member could volunteer at that point and say, hey, I will host a blog posting all of this information up. And that's what we, as a full body, was instructed that we should do until we get a final word from the office of OANC. Now, a second part of that, I've been contacted by some students at Catholic University that they're looking for a project. And so I thought, I said, well, hey, let's arrange to talk because this might be, they're social work students. And this might be a great project for them if they're willing to take it on and if the commission votes for it. So there's a possibility that we could get a blog up that will meet the minimum. It will have our minutes, it will have our agenda, and it will have our schedules on there. And then hopefully through the transitions of the office of the OANC, that we will then be secure to, those fiscal responsibilities will be picked up by that office. And then that's money that we don't have to use out of our budget. That again, that we can review that money to be used another way to operate ANC 5B.
Huh.
Comments? Anybody have any comments?
And Commissioner Costello, I have a question. This is a bit of a sidebar because this came up in my email exchange with the students. Is the Barney Alley your SMD? Like they said they live
No.
somewhere between Taylor and Shepherd by Barney Alley. Is that you?
No.
Okay, no, I'm curious because they had a DDOT issue and I was like, hey, I have no idea where Barney Alley is, but it sounds like if it's over there by Shepherd and Taylor, it might be 5B05. So I'm just asking you that. And you said it's not you. And thank you.
Yeah, it's not. They're in 5A, and I gave them their ANC's contact, so they should be all set.
Oh, good. So you got the email too, Commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
about them requesting speed humps in their alley. Okay, wonderful, Commissioner.
I thought that was my ANC. Wasn't it? Is that the same one you got, Commissioner Higgins?
Yes, that I referred to you. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's my ANC. I did respond.
It is.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. I don't mean to get off track there, but that was in the email, and I had no idea where it was, but I knew it was in 5B04.
Okay.
Where it is, and I knew it was in 5B04. Yeah, thank you, commissioners.
Okay. Any other comments in reference to that before we move on?
So I think I'm just one more.
Sure.
Got a little bit confused between the students and the OANC doing it. So just to be clear, Commissioner Amin and Commissioner Carley are going to set up the website with the help of the Catholic school or the Catholic University students until OANC can do it for us?
No.
It was
So,
my suggestion.
That was the suggestion, but let's go back to, so before when we were talking about the website, and we didn't get one up, and I said, well, what we can do is Commissioner Piekara is not going to go live with hers, then we can just go ahead and move forward, and I'll have Commissioner Carley and Commissioner Amin assist me in trying to get that together. That was the comment stated about that previously. The conversation about the college student is a separate conversation.
Right. It was my suggestion because the AONC has decided for some reason or another that they was not going to pay for the commissioner's website across the district like they, had in the past, that maybe, we should, hire someone to, because if we switch and we put in somebody else's credit card, we're going to run into the same problem again. So we should come up with something that's going to be, a permanent solution, and not something, while any of us are, still commissioners. So it would be something that if the next commission come in and decide they want to keep that person or hire someone else, they can, or maybe they might hire someone that's very savvy at something like that. But it was just other ANCs do it, why not us? That way we don't have to worry about anyone posting something that was not agreed on by the commission, and we'll have someone that's their only, a job for us is to focus on the website.
Okay. Any other comments?
So are we going to approve the hosting of the website in our budget, or where are we going to allocate those funds? Because regardless of who's maintaining the website,
Great
So-
question. So let me answer it this way. Again, the website that you have completed and have ready to go at any time, are you paying for it? Will that cost come from off of your credit card?
So I built the back end of it. I have not put down a card. Since I did this back in March, I've frankly repurposed it to my site since I had already basically built it. So I use it as my 5B03 website now, and it does go to my credit card. But
Okay, so that was my question. Okay, perfect. So again, that takes us back to the same end. As Commissioner Piekara just stated, because that is something that she has on her credit card or that she built, she made that transition to her website. And again, that's one of the problems that we run into when it comes to individual commissioners doing websites, because it's still at their discretion, because they do have proprietary rights over that because it's theirs. So what we need is actually a website that is strictly for the commission, and that works in the best interest of the commission. So
I do just want to flag, and I'm pulling it up right
Sure,
now. I did create a website just for the commission under the commission's email address.
I understand, but it was still at a cost to
Well,
you.
can we all basically pull together as far as coming up with maybe some suggestions on pooling names and have an opportunity to look at whatever they've done in the past and see whether or not we can just hire somebody, and that way we can just write a check as opposed to worrying about a credit card?
I think that would be the better situation, because then that way they are actually working as an employee or an agent for ANC 5B. And I think that would work out best. And then that way, whomever is on the commission, that host or source will be the person that will still, again, be working on behalf of ANC 5B. And it's not, cost that's theirs. It will be the cost that's the ANC's.
Can I just,
Commissioner Costello.
sorry, no. Well, I just wanted to say, so I also use Squarespace, the web hosting company, for my website, and you can actually pay a one-time annual fee. It's not monthly. So I think this could actually be simplified if we were to make just a one-time annual payment. You do a one-time reimbursement, and then nobody has to worry about submitting or collecting receipts every single month. It's just one and done. So that might be a simple option for us to consider, because I think either way.
But wouldn't that still be paid for under a credit card of an individual commissioner?
Yes, Commissioner. I did check on that, and that is true. And that's how you come up with the $250 dollars set aside for it, because that's approximately how much it would cost to do the one-time fee, and that would be the better deal. But again, that one-time fee would have to be paid on an individual's credit card, and the public should know that ANCs are not allowed to have credit cards.
Yep. So in answer to your question, Commissioner, it sounds like the concern might be that if it's on one person's credit card, I guess you're concerned that they would have control over the website. That's not entirely true. So the website would be developed under a single email address as the account holder, and that email address would have access to all, administrative controls over building the website and adding to it and things like that. So if the credit card payment is paid once, like on an annual basis, that's not refundable. So you pay it and you can't refund it or rescind it or anything like that. So that's it. It's done. So the website doesn't go anywhere. It stays where it is.
Right, but now the observation is that, hey, why should we pay $250 from our budget if in January or February the office of the OANC is going to pick up all of this cost for us? We will be out of $250. So I suggest, as the treasurer, that we wait before we make that purchase. And I checked on it today, and they still haven't made a decision. So I suggested we wait and see whether or not that cost will be picked up again by the OANC. And if it looks like they're not going to pick that cost up in the second quarter, then we decide as a full body commission, do we want to sign a year's contract and pay that $250? Because the $250, to an earlier question, will remain in communications as a line item. If we don't use it, it will be there. The money will be there. It's not going anywhere. And if we deem later that we need the money for something else, we move the money someplace else in the future. But for now, it remains as a line item in communications.
I would strongly urge us, just because we are obviously going to be the commissioners for at least the next year, that while OANC decides what they are doing, can we at least put a website up, pay for it monthly if necessary? Just right now, there is no centralized location for our community to get information, to view files. We're legally required to have all of our files, financials, minutes, etc., easily accessible. We don't have that location right now. I know Commissioner Costello and I maintain separate websites for ourselves, but having just a central location that all of our constituents and new residents can go to regardless of whose ANC they're in seems like a really easy thing for a relatively low cost.
And Commissioner, and I think that we can have an even lower cost, if not free, if we get someone, whether it be a commissioner or a community member, to do a blog, and a community blog that will host the same exact information. That is my proposal as treasurer, instead of whether we commit a couple of months fees or a whole year fee.
Commissioner Amin, the university students that you referred to earlier, is there a timeline or is there a commitment from them to be able to do something in the very near future? When I say that, I mean, it would be nice. We're going on vacation for Thanksgiving. I know we don't meet in December because we have not, missed any meetings, but it would be nice if we're able to get something up so that we can, at least post anything that had not been posted over the last several months so that it'd be available over the break.
Yes, I asked the students to meet me on Saturday to have this discussion.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, commissioners, if you have very, very great points, Commissioner Carley, if you have other points that you want to express, please do reach out. But they are scheduled to speak with me on Saturday, and their line was, it needs to be a doable project for us. So I will suggest this to them, and if this seems like a doable project that they're interested in, then we will move forward, and I will bring it to the full body commission, and hopefully this will be something that we will be able to have up. It would be wonderful if it was in December, but again, we're working with their schedule as well as our schedules as well. So yeah, Saturday I'm meeting. If they can make it, I will be meeting with several people from that team on Saturday, commissioners.
One other question. So you're saying they're going to have it up. So are you saying a website that because I'm sure they're doing this, as a part of their schooling, and so they can get better familiar with what they're going to do in the future. But are they going to? Is it going to require money for a website?
No, Commissioner. What I'm going to suggest is that I'm going to suggest what OANC suggested to me and requested they do a blog for us.
Oh, okay.
And that blog will host our information, the basic information that the community is. The community basically is our obligation to the community. That will be our minutes, our public documents, our minutes, our schedules, and our agendas. Now, then after that, like if OANC does not report back in first quarter and say like, hey, we're going to pick up this cost, then I will, me or whoever the treasurer is in the next fiscal year, that in the next calendar year, they will, I suggest that they move, that we then make the commitment to that year contract that was suggested by Commissioner Costello, and say like, hey, let's make that one-time payment on a credit card, which my special little light here, I would do it as treasurer, and then that means the secretary in 22, as well as the chair in 22, would then sign the check to reimburse me.
Okay, I have a question in terms, so who would keep the blog updated?
Right. I think that's what we decide on. Commissioner Higgins, great question. I think those are things for us to discuss. So on Saturday, if this group of young people, if they're interested and think it's something that they can do, then I will bring it back to the commission and then say like, hey, and we will decide as a full body who will keep it up, because I'm sure that they can't keep it up. Maybe it will be one of us. Maybe it's somebody that's been so busy in the chat from our community. Maybe they will volunteer to do it. Maybe it will be a former commissioner. So we will see. Concerned citizen too, we're not interested in you doing it, so you can withdraw your nomination.
So, okay, I think that that does sound like a plan and a viable one, because again, everyone has been, being very vocal in terms of a website and being able to pull information. But I do want to say that hopefully, after your conversation, please share that information with the commissioners next week, no later than Tuesday, if you can, So it will give individuals the opportunity, the commissioners opportunity to look at what's being proposed. And then we can vote on that on the 17th and have that plan in place so everyone will know exactly what it is we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it.
Thank you. And just for the record, if those options don't pan out, I mean, this ANC 5B website is already built and already has the library and the needed structures in place. So Squarespace often has 20% off. So it would be a total of $183.17 for the full year.
Thank you, Commissioner Piekara. That's great news. We will definitely keep that in mind, and I think that's a decision that should be made by full body in second quarter. If we have not gotten any word from or any direction from OANC.
Okay.
That's Treasurer's opinion on it.
Thank you. So, okay, great. So we're going to move on to our November meeting agenda. So this is the time to talk about those things that we would like to present at our full body meeting on the 17th. Does anybody have anything that they would like to have on that agenda for November?
Yes,
So far, we will, as noted, we will be voting on our budget, because at that time we would have had our budget meeting, which would be the week before. So we're able to bring everyone's opinions to the table and take in consideration and hear all of their concerns and opinions and so on and so forth. And so we'll be able to bring that to the table to vote on that. Also, we had a presentation at our October's meeting in reference to the light being erected, the pole being erected for AT&T. Initially, the presenter stated that they needed a letter of support. As I have continued to have conversations with them, we had no objection to the pole being erected, but they stated that they would really like the full support of the ANC. So I will be bringing that. We had the presentation last month, so I will be bringing that for a vote, for a full body vote on the 17th for the AT&T poll. Anyone else?
Yeah, Commissioner Higgins, I would like to place on the agenda that we vote to remove Commissioner Piekara from the secretary position, so the commission can carry on with commissioner business. This has really been a distraction to the commission and to the treasurer, and it has put us in a very precarious place as far as our finances concerned. So I would like to place on the agenda that ANC 5B votes to remove Commissioner Piekara from the secretary position in calendar year fiscal 2021.
Okay, well, okay, so I just want to be clear, because we all vote for new officers in January. So are you stating that you want this to be placed as immediate removal?
Yes, Madam Chair. I want this to be placed as immediate removal, and then we will then nominate and place a new secretary in place, and we will also, if need be, we will call in, have our new secretary sworn in position if this vote goes through as soon as possible, and that will allow ANC 5B enough time to finish up its fiscal year responsibilities with a chair, a treasurer, and a secretary that would be willing to work together for the betterment of the commission and the community.
Okay, and I just want to clarify a point. With the officers, they do not need to be sworn in. They just needed to be, a vote just needs to be placed. That's more ceremonial when we have our commissioners sworn in. So that's ceremonial. We do not have to have them sworn in, but we do have to have an official ANC 5B full body vote before the community. So, okay,
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks for the clarity.
no problem. Any other comments or anything else that you would like or the commission would like to have on the agenda for November?
Yes, Commissioner, I will have a BZA application for the full body to be considering.
Okay, would you please send an email with that information so we can have all the BZA information
Yes, ma'am.
prior to the meeting? Okay. Commissioner Costello, do you have something that you would like to add?
Yes. Well, I'm going to email you. I may have something related to BZA. I need to speak with my constituent a little bit more about it because they contacted me about making some changes to something that we had previously approved. So I just want to see whether that's something we need to put on the agenda for our next meeting. It sounds like we probably do, but I just want to get more information and confirm. So I'll send that to you via email. And I may have one other thing. I'm not gonna flag it for you yet right now, but I'll email you about that as well. Again, I need to talk to some of my constituents over the weekend.
Okay, and I just want to make sure that we all remember that we will not be meeting in December. So therefore, if you have something that needs to go up before the new year, the 17th of November will be the time to have that information voted on or have those presentations. So because our next meeting won't be first meeting of the year will be at the end of January. So if you have something that you want to bring forth, just, kind of remember the timeline. Anybody else?
Commissioner,
Yes, ma'am.
Chair, I would like that we not have an open, and because we're going to be voting on the budget and we're going to do a special meeting, can we set aside? Yes.
No, missed the first part. You broke up, so I kind of missed what you said. I'm sorry.
Could you repeat, Commissioner Carley? We only caught I would like that we not have, and then you broke.
I'm sorry, moving around. I do not, and I hope we don't have an overwhelming agenda. So that we're going to be voting on the budget, although we're going to have a special meeting. Can we set aside 30 minutes prior to our budget vote so that we can allow any, input? And if there isn't any, we can just move on. And if we have time at the end, we can use more of that time before we go on break.
We can use that. What you broke up again? We can use
the time. If there's no input on the budget and everyone's satisfied with it, and we set aside those 30 minutes and we don't use the 30 minutes, then we can use that 30 minutes at the end and allow for community feedback, any type of concerns, and hopefully some thank yous and, things like that, since we are ending, this will be our last official meeting before we break and return in January.
Okay, noted. Also, another thing, I'm not sure if everyone received an email from DC Water. The commissioners receive anything from DC Water?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, about the lead replacement. Yeah, I think it would be helpful to include them on the agenda if we can.
Yes, I have already spoken to Mr. Briggs. And as I stated to him, I could not say yes until we talked at our COW meeting. And but I do believe that that's an important discussion so that the community is aware of what will be taking place within ANC. Because they are launching the lead-free DC initiative to replace 28,000 lead and galvanized iron water service lines across the district. I believe they have a timeline that they have to have it done by 2029, 2030. Again, I would like for that to be presented as well. So I would like to add come to our agenda.
Thank you. And I just want to echo something that Commissioner Carley mentioned about time for the community. I mentioned this before. I'd love for us to find a way not to pack our agenda so tight that we're not giving time for our community. Last week's community meeting was 3 hours and 33 minutes. And of that, all combined constituents were 9 minutes and 54 seconds of that. So less than 4%. Even though there was tons of questions in the chat, tons of feedbacks on, or questions on the budget, on the Reed Street development, on other things. And so, you know, I don't know whether that means we need to have our meetings extended or we need to just cut back on how many presentations or how much we allot. But I would just hate to have us continue these community meetings where we're mostly talking at the community and not with the community. But because of this pandemic and we're not in person, I think it's really important. Yes, we are all having our SMD meetings, but as a full ANC 5B, I would love us to allocate at least 5 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes after presentations for an actual engagement where community members can ask questions, can give feedback, and then we can move on, because it's hard to ask everyone to come in, stay here, listen to us talk at them for 3 hours, and then come back to a different meeting or a single member district meeting, et cetera, to actually be heard. So I'd like us to think about that going forward.
And that's a great point. And interestingly enough, this has not been something that has been taking place until recently, because it's been more hostility on our meetings than it has been productive work. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in particular, but I believe if we can kind of ward off some of the negativity and just stick to the subject matters at hand instead of our personal feelings and all of that, I believe we'll be able to move through this process seamlessly, and the community can do what they've always done historically, have enough time to do so. And that's a lot of the feedback that I've been getting as well when I speak to people about all of the negative interaction that has been taking place and the hostility. So I believe that, you know, we need to have a substantive agenda, but even if we have 2 people on as presenters, if the commissioners themselves aren't able to keep themselves or maintain some type of self-control, it doesn't matter how long the meetings are, they're still going to run over and we forget about the business at hand. So that is truly noted. And hopefully when we have our meeting in November, that it will be more productive, and the community will also have an opportunity to share information and ask questions as need be. Commissioner Carley, you had a statement or a question?
Yes. Can we add to the agenda so that every time we meet, our parliamentarians could remind us of the rules when it comes to meeting and basically the forums that's supposed to be taking place?
Okay.
I'm not sure if I heard all of that. Could you repeat it, please?
So basically, I'm just suggesting that at the beginning of the meeting, once we have completed our administration, that we are given or reminded of what is supposed to take place when we are in that particular forum, when it comes to, being recognized to speak and not just blurting something out.
Sure. Do you want me to do that as parliamentarian?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. What was that?
I said, do you want me to do that as parliamentarian? I don't know who your request. If your request is directed
Well,
to
no,
me,
I'm saying not
Commissioner
me
Higgins.
as a parliamentarian, the parliamentarian, which is you, correct?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm asking. Do you want
Okay,
me?
yes, of course. Of course.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm happy to do that. And if I can just flag two more things for you, Commissioner Higgins, for our meeting. I just remembered somebody from the DC Office of Human Rights had reached out a while back asking for, I think, about 5 minutes or so for one of our upcoming meetings. And I did commit to letting them have time on the November meeting agenda. Since you, I think, are hosting it or preparing the agenda, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And I can connect you with them via email.
If you could forward me the email
Sure.
of your conversation and what your commitment was,
Sure.
that would be fine. So I will go through what we have discussed thus far as being on the agenda. So we discussed that we'll be voting on the budget, which will not we will not have to do a presentation because that will be done. AT&T, we don't need a presentation. We'll just be voting because that has already been done. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items that will request votes. And just I would ask that commissioners go back and take a look at what that process looks like. Just very briefly, the motion will be placed on the floor and it will be seconded. And then if there's a conversation, that conversation is to be had, and then we'll move on for the vote. Once we start the vote, there is no conversation once we start voting. So I just want to make sure that we're really clear about that. Once the vote has started, there is no conversation in between the vote. We are just voting.
But there is time for debate, right?
Yeah, that's what, once the motion has been placed on the floor and seconded, then that's your point. But once we start voting, the roll call vote, there is no discussion after that.
And I meant to flag one other thing for you. Aside from the Office of Human Rights, the 5th District MPD, I think we should have them present in November. You might have heard about the pretty serious crash that happened last night at 13th and Varnum. Apparently it involved a stolen vehicle. And so I just wanted to see if we can get somebody from the 5th District to address that particular issue. And I think there may have been some other incidents in the area. Commissioner Carley, I don't know if you've had anything happening. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know if Commissioner Carley has had anything happening in her district on the 5th District area.
Will this be any different than the MPD report?
No, just a regular MPD report. But I just wanted to make sure 5th District was included. I'm sorry, 4th District. What am I talking about? I'm getting them both mixed up. I think we normally have 5th District at our meeting, so I wanted to have 4th District also included.
Oh, so you wanted to have 4th District. Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
So again, if you have that contact information or if you would like to invite them, we can do that. And that would be a part of the MPD report at the top of the hour.
Okay. And then one other clarification, is the location for the November 17th meeting going to be virtual, in person, or hybrid? Or have we not decided?
We have not decided at this time.
Okay.
But right now, as we stated, the meeting for the budget will be in person. So people can come if we want to. So I believe Commissioner Amin is going to ensure that we have all of the documents. So people will actually have a physical document to look at, to go over, and to be able to ask questions from. All right, so at this time, commissioners, do you have any additional information or comments that you would like to make? And we'll start with 5B01. Commissioner Carley? Commissioner Carley? Okay, 5B02. I don't have any updates. I think I just stated about AT&T wanting an actual full body. They don't want a letter of support. They would like the full body behind them in their submission. So that is the only update that I have. Commissioner Piekara, 5B03.
Yes, I'd like us to open up a virtual option for the meeting on the 10th. We have a number of constituents who, for various reasons, won't be able to attend in person. There's also, as we know, a public health emergency going on. And so it would feel very discriminatory and restrictive to require that the only people who can participate in that conversation are the ones who can attend in person. There's a whole host of reasons that should not be required, but I would like us to, at the very least, offer a hybrid option. So all of our community who would like to participate, they've now sat through a number of meetings where they've told they're going to be able to discuss the budget. And I hope that we still make this one accessible so everyone who wants to participate can, and we're giving equal time.
Thank you. Commissioner Amin, 5B04.
Yeah, commissioners, well, I don't have an update, so I'm going to say no update at this time. Anything that I have to say will be said at the next full body, at the special meeting and then next full body meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Costello, 5B05.
Yeah, I actually do want to also encourage a virtual option for our next meeting. The reason being that, you know, in addition to individuals who might not be eligible for the vaccine yet, or for whom vaccines have limited efficacy, you know, I think it's unfortunately a pretty common experience for parents who have kids in school or daycare to have to quarantine for anywhere between 7 and 10 days because of possible positive exposure at their children's school. So I wouldn't want us to be responsible for contributing to any kind of community spread. We are still living through a pandemic, and it's still a very real concern for a lot of people, even though many of us already have our vaccines. So I do want us to consider that as an option. And if you need help finding someone who can set up virtual meeting equipment, I'm happy to reach out to some folks I know who I think have those skills and abilities. But I hope we can make that decision very soon, since we're already at the 7-day notice period right now.
Thank you for your comments. All right. Well, that ends our committee of the whole meeting. I thank you all for attending. Have a fantastic evening. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.